Why is every pretty girl with a horrible looking man? I don't understand. Listen, I'm not shaming people for their looks, but I am though. You give an ugly guy a chance, he thinks he rules the world.
As someone who was born quote-unquote vertically challenged, I'm 5'6.5", 163 centimeters, and so a good portion of my life I felt I had to compensate for being under the size of the average American. But as I've grown older and matured, I've come to see, especially in this modern society, that my height is actually a blessing in disguise because I don't have to deal with stuff like this.
For the most part, they're looking for a foreign guy. They strictly will only like you because you have blonde hair and blue eyes. They don't give a f about who you are. They just want to say, oh, look at me, I have this foreign boyfriend. They want to post pictures on their Instagram of you two standing together. They always do this, and they'd be like, oh, 190 centimeter and 150 centimeter. Oh my God, foreign height difference. Or, oh my God, look at my foreign boyfriend's blonde hair. And like everything they post about their partner is just about how they're foreigner. It's not actually about their partner as a person. And to me, that's pretty cringe. Like, I'm not interested in that.
As children, we hear a variety of stories and fables that teach us virtues that we are to carry into adulthood. Very few of those stories resonate like the story of the ugly duckling, a simple yet poignant story explaining the virtue of looking past the outside of a person and valuing who they are on the inside. It is hard to find anyone in the West who has not heard this story. The ugly duckling that grows into the beautiful swan should have been valued while it was ugly, while people underestimated its true inner character. This is a virtue that appears to be lost in modern-day social media, at least for a certain group of people.
Prom? Ew. It's where the most beautiful girls get asked by the worst dudes to prom, and they're like, yeah, because they finally found someone that likes them. Why is every pretty girl with a horrible looking man?
When I say the ugly duckling story seems to apply only to a certain set of people, you can hear the running joke when you talk about quote-unquote ugly men.
I've been single for a long time.
Yeah.
And my friend suggests that I find an ugly man because he'll treat me like gold. Do you think that's true? Should I go out looking for an ugly guy?
That's 100% true. Ugly men are the best men you can get. Look, first of all, they don't get invited into a lot of people's homes.
But it wasn't just Steve Harvey. There's a whole conversation around how women settle for ugly men.
But a woman's gonna settle down with an ugly man that got it going on. And it's going to settle down with a man is going to settle down for a beautiful woman that got nothing going on. And that's just facts. Women have the luxury of being beautiful, and you guys could do what y'all want to do because there's a man out there that will probably lead and take y'all there. Y'all securities and y'all beauty. With men, our security is in our success.
You heard the gentleman say that a woman's security is in her beauty, but as boys, when we hear the story of the ugly duckling, and then we grow up to realize that that only applies to one half of humanity, and generally speaking, most guys are just ugly guys, it becomes not just a running joke, but it becomes a theme of society. We are all aware of the growing selectivity of women dating in the smartphone dating app era. This article from Medium, September 9, 2022, women say 80% of men are below average. Are women's standards just too high? A study by dating app OkCupid, which we are all aware of, says that women find 80% of men unattractive or below average. As a woman myself, I can understand why women don't want to just date anyone. Why are so many men considered unattractive? I'll admit, out of all of the men I've encountered in my life, I've probably considered dating fewer than 20% of them. But how does this present itself in social media?
Men are literally disgusting, and the fact that I'm still attracted to them goes to show you that sexuality is 100% not a choice.
You need to go to hell. Today. You need to go to jail. Today. I should have called the cops. Right now.
Number one problem that men have when they communicate with women?
Everything. Number one, ugly.
Most men are ugly.
You said it, not I.
Are most men ugly?
Yes.
It's not even all about looks because women are compassionate and we fall in love with ugly men all the time. I have, and I was fully aware he was ugly. But beware when you do that. because you just raised his stock.
If you ever make the mistake of typing in the text string ugly men on social media, you're going to get an avalanche of young ladies basically saying that there are so many ugly men around me. Ugh. That's essentially the vibe that you're going to get. And it gives me sorrow for young men that are trying to rectify the story of the ugly duckling against what they're seeing in social media. And then I saw this particular TikTok and it really caught my eye.
The absolute worst thing about being a model is that you are surrounded by beautiful, wonderful, glamorous women. And about once, maybe twice a year, you see their... You have to see their horrible, troll-looking boyfriends. I don't know where they find them. And I don't know why they're with them. Surely they can't be that funny. Get away from her. Get away.
I think it's difficult at times for people to put my content in a box. And I think part of that is because I'm an older guy who's been through a lot of life situations and experiences. So I bring a different eye to content creation than I would have if I had started 10 or 15 years earlier. But when I see a content creator like this one or a TikTok like this one, it doesn't make me angry. It makes me sad. If you put all of your value of people, especially in terms of dating, in how much money they make and how good they look, and you skip over character, it is inevitable that you're going to get a lot of emotional damage because you're dealing with people based on how they look and not on their character. And so it's a revolving cycle where you get hurt by a lot of guys that you choose because they're good looking or because they are flashy. And then on the back end, when you get into a true relationship, you're carrying so much baggage that you're asking someone that's regular, that wants to be with you, to do something that's superhuman.
She should not be working as hard as your mother. She should not be feeling the brunt of everything. So we can't look at our wives and say, what's wrong with you? My mother was able to do it all. Your mother was barely doing it all. And now she's tired. Now she's having health problems. Now, you see it in her body. You see it in her strength. All those years of carrying it all. Why would you want to break down your wife if you love her? Yeah. Why would you want her to carry all that?
When I first heard this TikTok, my first response was, what is all of this weight that's being held by the wife in a relationship? I've seen happy couples together, and when they're working together, cooperating, maybe both are working, maybe there's some combination of it, and if they're cooperating, they're happy. I don't see a pronounced burden being carried by the woman alone in a happy marriage. And then if you take a step back and think, well, if you spend a prolonged period of time dating people who wounded you emotionally, and then you go into a relationship hoping that the person that's there is going to heal those wounds, then you're going to be carrying a big burden in that relationship. And I honestly think that this is what the end game looks like. A wounded woman trying to get her holes fixed in a marriage to a man who's being asked to do the impossible.
Why would you want her to carry all that? Because she's not going to be healthy later on. She's going to be bitter. She's going to be resentful. It's going to break down her body, and she's not going to be the best when it's time for y'all to be, when the kids are grown and it's time to be alone. She's not going to want to be with you because she's going to remember, you left me out there. You left me out there to work by myself. You left me out there to be tired. You left me out there to be broken down, and you didn't care. So husband is thinking, kids are out of the house. Hey, it's time for us to be friends. She's like, you are not my friend.
Earlier when I said that being short was a blessing in disguise, what it allowed me to do is have a unique way of looking at the dating market, because you see a lot of these young ladies that do the hot girl summer and they enjoy the fun times, and they maybe couldn't lock down the guy that they wanted. And then when they settle down with a decent guy and that guy's trying to be a good guy, she's carrying wounds because she was choosing guys based on how good they look, and then she feels like she's settling for a guy that's too ugly for her, not good enough for her. And so that resentment carries its way into the relationship. So now you have a decent guy who's doing things the quote unquote right way, and he's the one that gets punished because he wasn't the one that she wanted in the first place. And having this society where you open up young girls to all of this freedom in terms of sexual expression is just an invitation to emotional damage. And that's why I bring in the component of feeling sorry for these young ladies, is because they don't really understand the second half of it. In a way, it's a bit dismaying to hear so many young ladies so openly say that most guys are just ugly. But here's the thing about being a guy. We're built to handle it. We get told we're ugly. We get rejected all the time. We know that we have to work out or make more money or do what is necessary to up our status. But young ladies that spend the duration of their youth basically squeezing out the value of their youth and giving it to the guys that are the most handsome or the best looking, and then on the back end carrying that emotional damage into a relationship with a guy that wants to try and care about her while she feels like she's settling for him, is just a relationship that doesn't work. And now more young men are starting to become older men that understand that their value is later. It's just an equation that young ladies are just going to lose. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.